Hi guys, so I'm Kiri from Our Little Suburban Farmhouse, and I just wanted to welcome you to my channel. This is my first video, so I just wanted to kind of give you guys a quick tour and introduce you a little bit to me and show you my garden. And then after that I'll be sharing on future videos growing tips and garden tours and just other things about homesteading. So let's go for a quick tour. I've converted my front garden, some of it anyways. I took out some of the flowers and I started to grow some food out here. It's mostly herbs. This is my front garden. I have some blueberries out here. It used to be just all flowers, but I decided to dig a lot of it up and start growing food out here as well. So because I am in the suburbs, I need to make the most of any space that I have. So I transplanted out some blueberries, managed to get a blackberry there, not on purpose. I just have some sage, some cilantro that's already bolted, but I'll probably just save some seeds from that. I have some oregano, a couple of cucumbers, some mint, and also some lemon balm. I'm going to use that to make some salves or some other beauty supplies out of. So from there, we'll go around the side, making the most out of any space that I have. Oh, there's a bird. So down the side here, I have a strawberry bed. This is just a trial run. Not sure if they love it here, but we're trying. I also have some rhubarb in here, some mint, some grapes. Trying those. They're not doing great, but we'll see how they do. It's all a matter of just trying it. Now, let's go into the backyard. It's a bit of a mess because we used to have a deck out here and we just recently got rid of it, and the hubby had a hip replacement, so we're doing what we can. We've done a bit this year. Basically, we introduced in these raised beds. I was growing in the ground previously, so these are a big adjustment, or a big improvement, I'd say. And I'm really happy. We're actually going to be putting in another one here, and then we're going to do a skinnier bed along here, which will kind of act as a fence to keep Bacon out. Bacon is my French bulldog. You'll see her in the future, and she does like to get in things. I found her in the garden today. Yeah, trying to keep her out of things is a benefit. Here we have what I lovingly call Tomato Alley. All different kinds. These are all my indeterminate tomatoes. I have both indeterminate and determinate. Love these Black Beauty tomatoes from Baker Creek. Actually, almost all my seeds are from Baker Creek. Another thing I absolutely love and wouldn't be without is my seeding square. I'll put the link below if you want to get one of those. I have my arbor that was made by my husband's grandfather, and we actually got married under that, so I wanted to make that part of the garden. So eventually there'll be the tomato bed will go along here acting as the fence, and it will join up to the arbor. In here I have all my vegetables. I did have some more lettuce here, but it started to bolt, so I've taken those out and replaced it with beans to help put some nitrogen back into the soil. I have celeriac, celery, all my brassicas here, some what do I have in there? I have kohlrabi, which I'm growing for the first time. It's just gorgeous. I love that. I love how purple it is. It's just so pretty. I have broccoli, cabbages, some cauliflower. I don't know if I would do the brassicas again. They take up a lot of space, and because I don't have much room in my garden, I think I could probably be planting some better stuff in there that would give me a much higher yield rather than just a single cauliflower or a single broccoli. But I wanted to try it, so we'll see how they do in the raised beds. I also have tried planting nasturtiums in my garden for the first time. Actually, I've brought a lot of flowers in this year. Last year I grew pretty much the only flowers I had were sunflowers. And I just loved how much that brought in the bees. Like, it was like an airport at those. It was just bees taking off and landing all day long. So I've got more sunflowers this year. I've got a second batch that I've just started, but I definitely wanted to bring in other types of flowers, and the nasturtiums are also edible, and they help to keep some of the pests out of the garden, so I wanted to include those. Luckily I haven't had too many pests this year, but there have been a few, but not too many. My biggest issue is keeping bacon out of the garden, in all honesty. So back to the garden, there are my nasturtiums. They are the Orchid Cream from Baker Creek, and they are gorgeous. I have some onions, mostly Spanish, and some Ailsa Craigs, which can go to 5 pounds, so I'm curious to see how big I can get. Lots of carrots. I have some peppers in here. These are all my determinate tomatoes, so I'm looking forward to those. First year I'm growing determinate tomatoes. I usually just grow indeterminate, but because I like to make sauce, it just made sense to grow some determinates. Corn. This is the be-all and end-all for corn at this point. We've grown it before. We've never had great success. So this is the last time I am giving any space to it, but I wanted to give it a try in the raised bed, seeing as I'd only grown it in the ground before. I also have down here my zucchinis. For some reason, I also planted some acorn squash over on the other side. I think there's one. Oh yeah, there's one right there. For some reason, I feel like I thought that acorn squash wasn't going to crawl and trail, but it does, and it's everywhere, though not nearly as bad as the spaghetti squash, which is literally everywhere. Some peas, and so there's the acorn squash still going along. More peppers. My first time trying pole beans. I did a little bit of a teepee there. I think I could probably use some more. I've also got the pole beans growing up. The corn, which is part of the Three Sisters growing method. I also got the squash, which I have in there as well. That's where the spaghetti squash started, and it's ventured everywhere. So this is my other corn. You can see it's just starting to get ready to start pollinating. Interesting fact, each kernel of corn needs to be individually pollinated, so they need to be planted close together, so that there's a chance that all the kernels can get pollinated, because otherwise you end up with tiny cobs of corn that have big gaps in between the kernels. This mess over here is what I've kind of ended up with all my squash. I'm growing the white scallop squash for the first time, so I'm pretty excited about that. There is spaghetti squash quite literally everywhere. With the disaster that the spaghetti squash turned into, and from basically watching other YouTube videos, I've decided, especially given the fact that I don't have a lot of space, I'm going to start going vertical a bit. So I've ordered my first cattle panels from TSC, so I'm excited, just waiting for those to come in. And then I'm going to build some archways that will go in between the different beds. And then for next year, it's not going to help for this year, but for next year I'll be able to grow most of my squash up vertically, and hopefully that will stop a lot of the mess from trailing everywhere, and make it easier to find the fruit. And if I'm doing any hand pollination, it will make it easier to get to the flowers. So that's something that I'm looking forward to. When I build the tomato fence, or the tomato bed, I'll also be using candle panels in there to so that I can use them as a trellis and tie up all the tomatoes to that. Over in the back, I have garlic. I've already harvested my scapes, so there's about 4 to 5 weeks until I should be harvesting some bulbs, so that's pretty exciting. I've got 5 types of hardneck garlic and 2 softneck. So I'll see how they do. This is my first time really growing garlic with any sort of organization. So I'll see how that does. And over in the very far corner, it's kind of hard to see, but I have a secondary strawberry bed, so I'll see if they do better there than they are currently doing at the side of the house. So this is where I started to bring in some more flowers. I have my sunflowers. The taller one is a gray mammoth, and the shorter one at the back is a titan, which is actually supposed to end up being the taller one. It's supposed to grow to be about 12 feet tall, and the mammoth gray is about 10. So we'll see how they do. Both of them are edible, and as I mentioned earlier, I have them here because the bees just absolutely love them, and it just makes me so happy to see so many bees in the yard. I've started up, I think, 6 more Titans and 6 more of the Mammoth, as well as some colorful ones that aren't edible, just to kind of have some more in the garden. Here I have my black currants. I do love absolutely anything that tastes of black currants. I'm hoping to make some fermented soda, so I will be trying that with some of my black currants, and we'll see how that turns out. I've just put in a gooseberry, mostly because my mom loves gooseberry jam, so I put that in so that I can make jam for her. I don't even know if I like them. Honestly, I've never tried them. I have some lilies that I'm fighting with constantly. They're gonna have to be dug out, but I've been trying for years, and they're obviously winning, so they're there for now, and they're spreading, so hopefully I'll be able to get those out at the end of the season. And then over there I have some blackberries, and a mess that I need to clean up. I also have, over behind the barbecue, which is going soon, I have my raspberry patch. I have a couple of different kinds in here. I have some red ones, which have been there for a very long time. And then I have just put in, I have some burgundy ones, as well as some of the yellow, which are my absolute favorite, because they are so sweet and have the raspberry flavor, but not the tanginess. And actually, I think I see my first raspberry in there. Oh, I think there might be one more at the back. So that's exciting. This used to be my herb barrel, so I have a few left in here. There's some tarragon and some more cilantro that's gone a bit to seed. And I have my horseradish here. This is my second year. I'm hoping to actually harvest some this year. And a sad looking tomatillo that's been attacked by some 3-line potato beetles. So we'll see how that does. Hopefully it'll still give me some fruit. The tomatillos are pretty hardy. I know last year it absolutely took over. I have a bit of, was this arugula here that I have drying, so I can save some seeds for that. It started to bolt, so I just figured I would leave it and save the seeds. And that's it. My 2 raised beds, they're 4 feet by 12 feet each. Be putting in the 3rd one, which will be the same size. Over here, ran out of room, but I still wanted to plant some potatoes. So I do have, these ones are Yukon Gold. They went in first, so they're doing quite well. I had some, the French, I think actually they might have been the Lorette fingerlings. I can't remember, I'll have to double check. And then I also have these ones. These ones are the russet potatoes. These ones are actually indeterminate. These 2 are determinate, so this one technically could have gone in a potato tower, but ran out of dirt and I ran out of pots and space. So this is what it went into, all of them are in 30-gallon pots. So it'll be interesting to see how many potatoes I get at the end of the season. Pretty sure this one had 3 pounds of seed potatoes, this one was 2 pounds, and this one was 3 pounds as well. So from 8 pounds of seed potatoes, I'm going to weigh it all up and then see how much I get. So over here I have my composter. It's a turning composter. So I just give it about 5 or 6 spins a day. And it's pretty good. It's not huge. I want to be replacing it with a vermicomposting system. I'm also getting a bokashi composting system from the house, because this one is already full. I fill it up quicker than I can get compost out of it. But for now, it does the trick, so it's better than nothing. And I don't have all of that material going into the garbage, and then I can use it to make soil to go back into my garden. So that's pretty much it for a quick hello and welcome to my channel. A quick tour of my backyard garden. I don't have a huge backyard, but I still managed to grow quite a lot of vegetables and fruits. And pretty much as long as you have some space and some dirt and a pot, you can start growing food and start feeding yourself and having less reliance on going to the grocery store, even on a balcony. My mom lives in Toronto, and on her balcony in her condo, she grows an awful lot. One day I'll go down there and do a tour. I can't right now because of all the craziness with COVID, so I can't go visit her. But one day I'll go down there and shoot a video and show you guys everything that she is growing on her little tiny balcony, which is pretty impressive. The woman does love her plants. I guess that's where I got it from. So thank you for joining, and I'd love it if you hit subscribe down below and hit the bell notification so you can be notified of other videos. And happy gardening!